All right, happy Tuesday, everyone. 2 minutes until the bottom of the hour here at 9:30 on this Tuesday. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Good. Welcome to Snow Talk and the Weather Blog, a chance to catch up on what the trend is lately for the modeling for the end of the week system and how it will likely be a springboard for several others that will likely show up as we head into the new month ahead. And no, I have not taken out or deleted any of my Snow Talk graphics. Not yet. Still seeing at least some hints in the ensembles that potential is there as far as any type of snowflake action at all in the Ohio Valley. And until that goes away, I do not remove it out of the system altogether. I'll let you know when that happens. You know it's coming sooner rather than later, but usually right here, it's about mid-April that I usually have to take it out of the system. So in case you're wondering if I have moved on completely, I haven't. It's still there. It's just sleeping like it has been most of the winter. But I digress. Let's talk about the setup. It's going to get us into Friday and Saturday. There, of course, will be some cold weather. Even actually, you know what? There actually could even be a snowflake or two today. I couldn't roll that out. I'll show you where in just a second. As always, you guys can comment on our social media pages, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. All that should be able to show up on the screen here. So what hush on the snow? Come on. You guys are like the biggest snow lovers, Dave and Gene, aren't you? I'm pretty sure you are. Hello to Gail. Hello to Lisa. Mike's like, yeah, come on. Where's Snow Talk? It's kind of sad season. Oh, wait a minute. Got a spammer. Let me, let's see. Oh, don't click on that, anybody. Don't click on that. Don't click on it. Don't click on it. Don't click on it. All right. I got rid of him. All right. I'm sure there'll be another one like 2 minutes from now. What'd you say, Marianne? Guess I'll be cutting the grass in my winter coat. I have yet to do the yard work as far as cutting the grass, mainly because I have severe allergies. Grass cutting is like usually my downfall. But I mean, someone's got to do it. But it's getting up there. I've got a lot of dandelions. Now, the backyard I don't worry about as much because Harry loves dandelions and a lot of the clovers that grow out there, especially, well, those are pretty much year round. But those little white blooms, I'm not sure what you call those type of weeds. But anyway, those are his favorite too. So I let the backyard go crazy because, trust me, he will demolish it very soon when he's out there for the summer. No doubt about it. All right, so let's get right into the outlook. Now, I will say the next few days we're not outlooked, and this is really the quiet period we are talking about. Today, Wednesday, Thursday. After that, we then start to enter into a more active scenario. And it's not just severe thunderstorms I'm talking about. I'm talking about some potential for heavy rainfall. And yes, one of your favorite things to talk about, wind. And it's the general wind again. Yes, it will be enhanced at times with thunderstorm potential, but general wind is showing up more and more with the system, even as we head into Saturday. So I'll try to cover all that as well. So this has been a wild year for wind, that's for sure. Okay, let's start with the current setup outside. This is down into E-Town. Kind of overcast sky out there. I saw a little bit of a hint of sun basically on my way in. There wasn't a ton. There is a bit of a gap between the cloud shields you'll see in a second and another batch of clouds in Indiana. But look where it is at or just below freezing, northwest sections here of wave country. That's the spot if there's enough moisture that can move in the next few hours. You guys, Lawrence County, Northern Washington County, maybe Jackson, maybe even Jennings, could get maybe a snowflake or two mixed in with some of the sprinkles that move through the area. That is possible. There's not a whole lot of moisture here to work with. You got to get the moisture in the right level to get a snowflake generated. It's kind of iffy once you get to that part of Indiana because the moisture layer is relatively shallow, but it's possible. And I have seen a few reports of graupel and snow across areas of Illinois, so it's not unheard of. But it is a chilly morning. That stands out. All right, here is the two different areas of precipitation. We got some light rain that's not even reaching the ground. I haven't seen reports of that in southeast Kentucky. And this is, again, where dry air is likely limiting how much is being witnessed here. This is very close to the IU campus at the moment. If it drifts over your area the next few hours and you were to see a snowflake or two, just give me a shout. Let me know. We're not going to issue an alert or anything, but it's just nice to know that snow still does exist somewhere. Again, no reports from MPing. We'll be watching that. So if you have that app and that ability to hit those reports, send those in because they will pop in our system. All right. If you look carefully, you can see the gap in the clouds right through here. So this is the area that will go into some sunshine, already is into some sunshine. Unfortunately, there are more clouds, of course, to the northwest, and that is what the direction they are heading. This whole thing is basically kind of spinning or pinwheeling, if you will, right into the Ohio Valley today and digging to the south and east. As it does so, there will be a small window for a brief shower, even in Louisville, that's possible. And even, again, some small or soft hail ice pellets could mix in with some of this because it is pretty cold above our head, but there's not a lot of moisture. This looks really aggressive on the radar, but I've only had like 3 reports of anything reaching the ground out of that. So I don't think it's going to be much to be concerned with. All right, so then after that moves on by, skies do want to clear up tonight, and that's where we get into the issue of a frost and freeze scenario, because it turns out the Weather Service is not going to issue frost and freeze alerts. They do not feel, well, the University of Kentucky Ag Department does not feel the growing season has officially gotten underway enough to get into alerts. Now, that is going to highly vary on where you're at. By looking at my yard and everything that is blooming in my yard, I'm definitely to that point. So if you're to that point where you feel like something you planted is going to be damaged by frost or freeze, just don't worry about the alert part. Just cover it up just to protect it. And you'll have to do that for the next 2 mornings. Sorry. Right now, it looks like the bluegrass area of Kentucky would stand better potential to get below 32. But I do think it's going to be a frosty setup for a lot of us. So keep those ice scrapers handy. And then we get some clouds in here on Wednesday. You know, Wednesday did look like it would be a lot of blue sky to enjoy. But with this boundary sinking south, there is a chance we could get some high-level clouds that may move in. That could be a bit of a bummer on sky condition on Wednesday, but still I don't think Wednesday's going to be a bad day. And I'm not worried about the moisture part. I think the air is going to be too dry for that to move on through. After it moves by, I still think at the moment, anyway, Thursday is the key day to have the perfect combination of the blue sky and temperatures in the 60s, just so Marianne can get out there and mow the grass. So there you go. That's where it's trending right now, is to do it on Thursday. And a good day to do that. The ground's going to be even drier from the last rain we had, so that keeps the sogginess down even more. But it's right before we get back into a rainier setup. So Thursday is it, though. You got to get it done on Thursday, because then the rain will begin to arrive. So here's how I'm going to label this. I'm going to show you just precipitation, so you'll see that animate. You're going to see the red area animate. And again, that is fuel or the CAPE the system has. That is important to point out on this. And then we'll talk about wind fields. So I want to start the clock. I hope you guys can see that. I know it's real small, but it's at 3 a.m. Thursday. All right, so we're quiet there on Thursday. As I mentioned, no problems at all on Thursday daytime. Friday morning, we get the warm front itself, the front, the wave moving along I-65. That's going to generate lift. You generate showers from that. You can get thunder. You can get small hail out of that, but that's usually about the limit on this kind of a scenario. So we're not expecting severe weather for Friday morning. I do think it will be windy, but you can see the fuel is starting up. It's already 8:30 in the morning, and the fuel is already starting to get a little more kicked up around Kansas City and west of Springfield, Missouri, just south of where the low is. That's the spot certainly to watch. And as we head through the day, thunderstorms fill in that gap quite a bit from Illinois, Missouri. I really think Arkansas, if I had to pinpoint, and we'll see the actual severe map in a second, but I would say St. Louis, Arkansas, maybe into southern Illinois. This spot right in through here seems to be the perfect alignment of the fuel and the moisture level and timing of day. It's a bit iffy, but a lot of wind shear up here, so it wouldn't take much to get a brief tornado into northern Illinois even. And for us, we have the wind shear, but we don't have hardly any fuel. Even at 8 p.m. Friday night, there's not much to talk about. So our severe threat really hasn't even arrived at that point, even at 8 o'clock on Friday. So it's still to our west. But as I animate into the overnight hours into your early Saturday morning, now it's hard to see it because it's getting darker because it's fading out. But there's just enough fuel right there along the actual front itself, the actual trough digging in. At this point, the wind fields are strong. You do have some fuel, but will it be enough to bring down some of those stronger wind gusts to the surface and, of course, allow for any type of tornado potential? That's a good question. At the moment, there is much more of an argument against this scenario materializing than it is for it. So that's good. And that's why so far we haven't issued the alert day on this one, just because it's a classic setup, losing the fuel into the overnight hours. The only thing, and it's been the theme this season, that may be a trigger for us on an alert day setup is really going to be the gradient wind, not so much the thunderstorm part of it all. But the gradient wind really ramps up because the wind fields at around 1 o'clock in the morning Saturday really ramp up right over the Ohio Valley and wave country. And it's going to be a really strong wind. Now, we can have a layer sometimes. We called this before about inversion that it sets up. You can get a layer that hopefully can stay intact enough. That would be just after the line of showers and storms. And that would hopefully limit how much wind can get to the surface. But that's always a risk that it can get to the surface level and cause some problems there. So right now, if the window we're looking at for any severe potential, it's going to be roughly, I would say, 10 p.m. Friday night through about 4 a.m. Saturday. That's the window we're looking at. That's the one we're focused on to see if there's any change in the fuel. The wind shear part is pretty much a slam dunk. That's easy to forecast in advance. So we know there's going to be a lot of wind with the system. And I'm not talking about just general wind hitting the ground. I'm talking about wind above our head. It's got a lot of wind with it everywhere. The fuel part is the iffy part because of timing. During the overnight, we lose a lot of that. But still, it's got enough of a kick to it to where if it's faster than what is expected, say it's closer to the 10 p.m. window Friday night than it is the 4 a.m. window on Saturday, that would actually increase the fuel just enough that we could have some issues with warnings getting issued. But unfortunately, or fortunately, we just don't have that data yet. But the fact that we don't have it also means we don't have a lot for it. And I think that's a good place to be right now. That moves on by here as we head into Saturday. It clears the rain out fast, but it is going to be windy throughout the entire day there on Saturday. Speaking of severe weather, here is the outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. You know what? They really didn't change this a whole lot. It's still the enhanced risk around St. Louis, Memphis. We're still in the slight risk. They're accounting for, and you can tell by the curved how it sticks out here, they're accounting for an acceleration of a band of storms that will jet out as the jet streak itself is aiming just like that, right to the Ohio Valley. So it's going to follow along that. So as always, it's an issue of, going down the hill in a car and how long would it take if you didn't hit the brakes for it to eventually just slow down? And that's kind of how what these thunderstorms are doing. They're basically not hitting the brake. They're just running out of steam. So how quickly will that happen? That's going to be the deciding factor on severe. I hope that all made sense. I don't want to talk us too much to death because we're going to be getting a lot of new info on it tomorrow. Now let's talk about wind potential. Friday, that's when we start the winds already ramping up. Friday morning, you're going to notice the gusts are on 40 miles per hour. The gusts will continue to ramp up throughout the day, especially to the west. You see some of the 63 mile per hour wind gusts. A lot of that is thunderstorm related, by the way. These are general winds. That's pretty windy. That's wind advisory level. So it smells like and looks like and will feel like a wind advisory coming our way. And then you get into the nighttime hours Friday night. Now we're getting to some of this is thunderstorm action. Now you're getting some 50 mile per hour wind gusts in West Kentucky. And you see those reports continue to ramp up. Now, once we get into Saturday morning, this is not thunderstorm related anymore. Now this is just pure gradient wind that really is getting strong into the Ohio Valley. This right now, if it lines up, would probably be a high wind watch for Illinois, high wind watch Indiana, Ohio. I don't know if we'll get to that criteria for our counties, but I do think a wind advisory is pretty likely. If we see a potential to go into a high wind warning or high wind watch scenario, then that would likely trigger an alert day from us. But I think you got to look at this as a separate issue from the thunderstorm potential. There's two different things here, but obviously both can be a problem. And that wind will eventually relax. Looking ahead, we do have a chilly morning on Sunday, but we ramp back up. Next week looks very summerish, to be honest. A much more humid atmosphere. Daily chances for showers and storms. They will max out Tuesday night and Wednesday with an actual front. Could be severe weather. You bet. That is possible. Something we're watching. And this one has a lot of wind with it in nearly the same exact location. Are you seeing a pattern here? We've had this for a while, and the outlook looking ahead doesn't seem to want to change much up in this idea and this timing. So this is going to be a busy April for us with the same repeating factor of severe weather breaking out across the south and mid-Mississippi Valley area. We get leftover storms at night. We get a lot of wind the next day. And yeah, that may end up being every Friday and Saturday at this point if this keeps holding true. We'll see how that plays out. So there you go. Let me see if I can answer some of your questions here. Lynette, is Greenberg including the chance of severe weather Friday? Yes, everyone's in the severe risk for Friday night. But how much of that risk will be realized, we don't know yet. But everyone is in the same boat on that idea. So very good question. Thank you for asking. But yeah, everyone's in that outlook for it. Tiffany, sunny and 75. Sunny and 75. Sunny and 75. Sounds familiar. I do think it's possible maybe 1 or 2 days, Monday or Tuesday. It's possible if we can keep the storms off the radar long enough, you can get a 75-degree day with some sunshine. So there is a chance to get a bonus day out of this kind of a pattern. It's possible, but it will be humid, something we haven't felt too much of, but I do think humidity will be going up. See, I'm going to East Tennessee Friday morning, traveling. We'll try to be okay Friday morning. You'll be fine. It will be probably rainy, at least for the first part of your journey, and you may start to feel the wind toward the end of it, but nothing too excessive or crazy there. So I think you're fine. Just be safe traveling there. Good morning from my home roots there, Okolona. Hello, Debbie. Anything else? Everyone else is good? Hello, Tootie from El Paso, Texas. Part of that place. Part of that place. All right, guys. I think everyone's good. I'm not seeing anything. Tell your dog, and I will tell Harry and Gary and Michelle, all the animals. I will say hello. Absolutely. All right, guys. I think everyone's good. I'm going to just stop for now, and we'll just see how things trend. It's Tuesday. I'm telling you, I'm going to be talking about this every day. So let's just see how this kind of settles in the oven the next couple of days and see how it certainly turns out in the data. Again, Friday night, 10 p.m., Saturday, 4 a.m. That's the window we're watching and examining carefully to see what changes show up in the data on that. And until we see more support for severe weather, we're going to hold off any alert day on that. But that could easily change. And or if we were to get a stronger signal for gradient wind to be strong, that could also change the dialogue. So stay tuned.